Hello, my name is Kathy Burkhart-Jessen, and I am the Warden of Middlesex County. On behalf of Middlesex County Council and the Middlesex Workforce Development Partnership, I would like to wish everyone a happy International Women's Day. To mark this special day, we will be hearing from Jamie McMillan, founder of KickAss Careers. Jamie became an ironworker in 2002 when women represented only 2% of that industry across Canada and the United States. She thoroughly understands the struggles and challenges of working in an underrepresented workforce and is on a mission to break down the negative misconceptions and stereotypes. Through KickAss Careers, Jamie engages with more than 50,000 students, parents, educators, and employers each year. Her efforts have gained international notoriety for opening doors and minds to the possibilities of well-paid careers in skilled trades and technology sectors. We are very excited to have Jamie with us in Middlesex County today to engage in a conversation which fits nicely into the theme of this year's International Women's Day, Embrace Equity. To achieve equity means to create an inclusive world, a world where it's recognized that each person has different circumstances and is given the exact resources and opportunities to reach an equal outcome. Jamie will highlight the abundance of opportunity available to women and youth in the trades industry while communicating a message of success when equity is instilled in a workplace. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Attawandaron, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Lenapehoik peoples, who have long-standing relationships to the land, water, and region of southwestern Ontario. The local First Nation communities of this area include Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames First Nation, and Munsee Delaware Nation. This building is on the land within the areas of Treaties 21 and 29 and the London Township Treaty 6. We value the significant contributions both in the past and the present of local and regional First Nations of Turtle Island. We acknowledge the historic and ongoing injustices that Indigenous peoples endure in Canada, and we affirm our commitment to honoring Indigenous voices, nations, and cultures, and to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. And with that, I would like to pass this over to Holly and Jamie for our International Women's Day feature. Enjoy.
Thank you to our Middlesex County Warden, Kathy Burkhart-Jessen, for the introduction. My name is Holly Parks, and I am the Youth Workforce Education Coordinator with Middlesex County, and beside me is Jamie McMillan from KickAss Careers. Thank you so much for joining us today in Middlesex County, Jamie. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to our conversation in hopes that it empowers women everywhere of all ages to pursue their passion and embrace equity. Let's get started. So Jamie, when did you first become interested in the trades? Who and what inspired you in this field?
Okay, so there's a little bit of a crazy story to that. So years ago, I didn't know which direction I wanted to go into. I was 25, I'd been a high school dropout, and I was searching for something to do, but didn't want to go to college or university. I was walking to the grocery store in Hamilton, Ontario with a very limited budget to go get groceries when a car pulled over on the side of the road next to me because the girl had to answer her phone and she needed a pen. Hers had run out of ink. So in order to write down this information, she rolled down the window and called out to the first stranger walking by her car, which happened to be me, and asked if I had a pen, and I did. I gave it to her, and she got out of the car and started talking to me and recognized me as one of her classmates from Timmins, Ontario, and ended up telling me about the skilled trades. And that day I went home and did some research and found out about apprenticeship, which is an opportunity to earn while you learn. And at the end of an apprenticeship, you come out with a college or university degree, except that you got paid for it. And 90% of your training is hands-on instead of in the classroom, which was perfect for me.
How did you go about pursuing a career in the trades? What were the steps that you took?
Well, when I discovered the trades, I found out that I can go up to a union hall and apply. So I had to get my high school transcript, and I just went to the union hall, brought in a resume, filled out their application, did not write my gender, and eventually got a letter in the mail that was addressed to Mr. McMillan, because my name is Jamie, so they thought I was a dude. I got accepted. I had to go in and do some testing, and then once I passed the testing, I did a bunch of training, and after that, it was just an earn while you learn go out to the job site, and every 1,000 hours I got a raise. Every 2,000 hours I went and sat in a classroom for approximately 6 or 7 weeks. And at the end of 3 years and 2 months, I wrote the CFQ and became a journeyman ironworker. So I believe journeyman is a status, not a gender. I really love that I'm a journeyman ironworker. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. I do have a follow-up question in that regards. So was it on purpose that you didn't mark your gender on that form?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I just didn't write my gender. So when I got the letter in the mail that said was addressed to Mr. McMillan, I'm like, that might have been a good thing.
Was there something specific that attracted you to your current trade over other career pathways?
I knew nothing about the trade when I started it. I had no idea what an ironworker was, other than the fact that when I had run into this old high school classmate, they said that they built bridges and buildings and said, ironworkers built the CN Tower. And to me, it just seemed appealing because I'm sort of a thrill seeker. I like adventure, and the idea of being able to climb up on steel and put buildings together was fascinating to me. So I went and applied.
What have you learned about yourself and the industry since starting in your career?
I've learned so much about myself in this industry. I learned, first of all, that I'm a really good hands-on learner. I'm not so good at sitting in the classroom, but I also learned about the importance of infrastructure. I never understood, or should I say never grasped the concept before, of how big the construction industry is. Like, it is literally everywhere. And we take it for granted because it's all around us. It's when we wake up in the morning and we have a roof over our head. It's the roadways that we drive and the bridges we go over and the transportation that we're in, the offices and buildings that we work in and visit, and the tourist industry. It's just so crazy to grasp how big the concept of construction is. And it just opened up my eyes to a world of opportunity that I never knew existed prior.
I love how you mentioned it is all around us, because that is definitely something that we don't always consider. And it's very true, right? And there are tons of opportunities. You wear many hats, from author to motivational speaker. What made you start KickAss Careers and link that to motivating and inspiring others to pursue careers in the trade?
I recognized a long time ago that women were a minority on the job site. And that is what first inspired me to start going out and talking at different events, like with Skills Ontario, to go to young women and women's initiatives to empower and educate them about the opportunities in the skilled trades. And originally I just started as myself, and as my story started to spread around through the schools and people were inviting me out to more and more schools, I figured I needed a brand. And so I put it out there that I was looking for a brand name, and some Catholic school students from Fenelon Falls came up with the name KickAss Careers. And ever since then, I've been going under that brand, and we're actually building a brand ambassador program. So we are represented now by 13 different people across Canada and the United States that are authentic skilled trades professionals that want to advocate to the next generation.
So which of your accomplishments are you most proud of, and why?
I'm very proud to be in the construction industry, and for me that was an accomplishment all on its own, to finish that apprenticeship and then be able to accept the honor of completing that status to become a journeyman. Then the empowering piece of that is also that I can drive around the country and be like, I built that, and I worked on that, and my crew and I did that, and I welded this. But it's just so empowering and fun.
You are described as being a visionary and advocate for skilled trades, technology, and youth, but also have a passion for homelessness and mental health. Could you tell us how these causes link into KickAss Careers or the trades industry?
The homelessness became very important to me when COVID hit. So in 2020, when we got the notification that everything was shutting down, the job that I was supposed to go to in the construction industry was minimized down to just basic staff. And all of my speaking engagements for the rest of the school year were pretty much dropped. And I'm not a person who can stay in the house and be confined to myself. So I was on a stakeholders committee for the YWCA at the time for improving the skilled trades for women. And I seen that they put up an ad that they were looking for volunteers for their homeless shelter. And I ended up sending a message to the CEO, and I asked her if it was something that I could do, because I did go to school when I was younger to be a PSW, and I had worked as a personal support worker for a while. And they said yes, and they ended up hiring me. And when I started working at the shelter, I met several women who had come from very, very successful backgrounds. And for one reason or another, something went wrong in their life, and they ended up in this situation. And these were really, really great people. So I became very passionate about homelessness, and also that for some people that are on the streets, this is a perfect pathway because they can't afford maybe to go to college or university, or they don't have that support. And what better than to get into a paid training apprenticeship and be able to do those hands-on careers that they actually really enjoy.
It's nice to acknowledge that connection, because I do find that it is often just a bad circumstance that happens, right? It's not necessarily on that person. So that's wonderful that you were able to figure out a way to turn it around for many women. Why do you think it is important to consider exploring and pursuing a career in the trades, especially for women and youth?
The great thing about careers in skilled trades is they are for anyone and they're everywhere. And they offer independence, the ability to travel, financial stability, a lot of times pension and benefits. And these are jobs that anybody can do. Sometimes there's this bias around the skilled trades, like, oh, you shouldn't be in skilled trades because you're a woman, because it's hard work, it's dirty work, it's male dominated, you're going to put up with all these antagonistic behaviors. And at the end of the day, the truth is, it doesn't matter where you go, where you work in life, you're always going to deal with those types of people because those people are everywhere. Humans are human. That's what they do. The importance of women getting into this is it's a very, very empowering career that is going to not only build your emotional and mental strength, but it's also going to build your physical strength.
What advice do you have for women who are thinking about pursuing a career in the trades but are lacking confidence because it is underrepresented?
Well, there's that expression that nothing changes if nothing changes. So while we're underrepresented in this industry, if we want to change that, we need people to get into the industry, especially young women. We have so many jobs available, and we're more than 50% of the population. And these jobs are good paying jobs, and anybody is capable of doing them if you have the right work ethic and passion and drive. So I always encourage women, if you want to do this job, get out there and try it, especially while you're in high school, because you have all the opportunities to try free shop classes, and that'll give you that incentive or push to get into the trades if you really enjoy it while you try it in the school classrooms.
How do you facilitate spreading valuable information and an impactful message across various audiences?
Well, I believe that credibility and authenticity are very important, and being vulnerable. So I'm not afraid to talk about, my struggles and challenges that I faced. I'm not afraid to talk about the mistakes I made. And what's important for me is that I talk from my true self, that I tell my story as authentically as possible so that I have a relatable story to other audiences, like the fact that I struggled with ADHD and education. I was in special classes, and I dealt with all those struggles of not being that academic student. And the thing is there's a lot of students that are similar to me that may struggle with learning disabilities and ADHD. And I want them to know that these are extremely viable pathways, because I didn't know about this in school. So I dropped out of high school and went on a very convoluted journey to find what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be. And it wasn't until I ran into that high school classmate that I discovered what I should have known all along while I was in school. So that's why it's really important for me to get in and educate people as early as possible, to plant those seeds that these are viable careers, and that you don't have to be that smart academic, you just have to be that hands-on, willing to learn type of person to have a successful career here.
And so a follow-up question to that, would you say that cooperative education opportunities and work-integrated learning play a role in that discovery piece at an early age?
Huge role, because one of the biggest things, that one of the gaps between high school and getting an apprenticeship is that students need some hands-on experience. So those co-ops are so important, because if students can get that working experience while they're in school, my goodness, when they bring their resume forward for that position and that opportunity, then they're obviously going to have a better chance to get in. So cooperative education to me is amazing.
What progressive actions, say from the community or from parents or from educators or from employers, can be taken to help make the trades a more welcoming career path for women and youth?
So that's a very good question. We have to recognize equality, diversity, and inclusive workplace cultures and respectful workplaces. We're all capable of doing the work, and some of the things that employers can do is embrace different diversity in the workplace, but also offering those cooperative education programs with the schools, taking in more apprentices. Sometimes we struggle with that gap between students finishing with school. Maybe they've gone through the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program or done the SHISM program, and then they're having trouble finding employers. So we need more employers to step to the plate and take in these apprentices and give them opportunities. And if they can do that and make sure that they have that respectful workplace with an inclusive work culture, then things are going to start progressing for the better.
That is for more the perspective of a student per se, but what about for women who didn't have this option to explore in secondary or even post-secondary education, and now they're looking to integrate into the community and into the trades? How would you advocate on behalf of them?
There's a lot of different programs that you can take. So if you don't have any experience or you didn't get involved when you were in high school, there's still opportunities to go back to post-secondary. There's all kinds of different tech exploration programs that you can try. Sometimes there's some community programs you can try. Things like the YWCA often have pre-apprenticeship programs, but then there's also the chance to apply for apprenticeships as well. And so you just go out and apply for apprenticeships and do what you can to get that hands-on experience, go to job fairs, exhibits, whatever you can. And then that will be your footstep into the doorway.
What would you say is the most negative misconception or biggest barrier that you have encountered to date?
Well, there's different types of challenges and barriers that you can face in the workplace, and a lot of it has to do with just working with different personalities. And sometimes you have to work with really antagonistic people who just don't want you there or believe that you should be there. And sometimes it's not even about the fact that you're a woman. It's just their personality, and they might feel that way towards anybody. But some of the biggest challenges I had to come over was not taking things personally and drawing healthy boundaries. Those were big things for me, and it took me many, many years to get to those places. But basically what happened is I was ready to quit at one point. I was feeling challenged, and I remember calling this woman, Pat Williams. She lives down in the US, and she's now my business partner. And she was my friend and mentor at the time. She's a retired stationary operating engineer. And she told me that I had to stop taking things personally, and that when people told me that I couldn't do something, that it should be my motivation to do it better. She always said success was the best revenge and prove them wrong. So after that, that was what it was all about. It was like if somebody would say something to me like, why are you here? Women shouldn't be here, or you shouldn't do that, or don't lift this up, or don't do that, whatever. I would just take whatever they had and I would turn it into something positive. So it was the more negative energy that was coming at me, the more I would try to turn that into my positive drive and motivation to prove them wrong and to succeed. And once I caught on to that, once I got that momentum going, at that point, that's when I really started to excel.
Follow-up questions to that would be, what were some strategies that you used to develop that thick skin, right? If you were relaying this to women and youth, how would you suggest that they go about developing that thick skin?
Basically, just get good at your job. Understand everything about it. I wanted to know everything. I dug in deep. I wasn't afraid to get my hands dirty and to ask questions and to work hard. I was never in the workplace to be representing as a female. I was in the workplace to be representing as a skilled trades professional. That's the most important thing. If you're going there to do your job, it doesn't matter how you identify. As long as you can do the quota, at the end of the day, the employer's happy, you go home happy, and you collect your big fat paycheck at the end of the week.
We already briefly touched on this, but Embrace Equity is this year's theme for the International Women's Day celebration. How does this resonate with your career and hold significance to women looking to enter underrepresented careers and businesses?
So the best thing about skilled trades is that it's mandated apprenticeship. So it doesn't matter how you identify. When you get into the skilled trades, it's equal across the board. We all get paid the same, and each block of our apprenticeship, we all get the same raise. And at the end, it doesn't matter who you are, the pay is always the same. And that's one of the great things about equity in the skilled trades.
Now, your answer mentioned about the skilled trades. What about businesses?
There are so many unlimited pathways that you can take to the top. So when you get in, you complete your apprenticeship, and then you become that certified Red Seal or CFQ member. Once you get to that stage, there is no stopping how far you can go. And the greatest thing about being in construction is that a lot of times the employers or the unions that you're working for will embrace you as a worker and provide you with all types of free training that can also help you go from being the journeyman showing up on their job site every day to a foreman, a general foreman, a superintendent, a project manager. There's even courses and classes to become your own boss, open up your own business. So a lot of people that get into construction will work their way up through the industry, get the experience, finish their apprenticeship, and eventually become business owners.
Is there anything else that you would like to speak to that we haven't already covered?
There are so many things I can say positive about the skilled trades, like the ability to, live here and work anywhere in the world and still call this home. That's one of the great things. The other great thing about working in the industry is that the opportunities are endless for advancement. But there's a few things that I want to really nail down. As we bring more women into the industry, I think it's really, really important that we represent the industry with respect. We go onto the job site, we dress, we wear the proper PPE. A lot of people on social media now are making the trades look like it's this fun and sexy place. And it is very fun and it is very sexy, but not sexy in a provocative kind of way. To me, sexy is smart. It's wearing your proper PPE and using the tools and equipment properly, representing properly in the workplace, and recognizing that you're part of a bigger picture and you're part of a team and working with that team in the most professional manner that you can. As women in the job site, we are kind of all painted with the same brush. So if we leave a bad impression, then we're making it look bad for the next person coming in. So remember that we're all representing each other. So we have to do our best to represent well.
Thank you, Jamie, for your willingness to speak with me today. Your efforts in increasing awareness of the skilled trades for women and youth is unparalleled, and I cannot wait to see how it progresses forward. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
The Middlesex Workforce Development Partnership is honored to facilitate this conversation and many others on behalf of International Women's Day. By providing our communities with a female-influenced perspective, we are bringing awareness, spreading knowledge, and giving additional resources to ensure we continue to move forward in an inclusive and equitable fashion.
So work is 1/3 of your life, so it's really important, if you want to find a life of purpose and passion, to find a career that you truly love. Never be afraid to explore whatever that might be.
To learn more about the skilled trades, please visit Jamie McMillan's website, KickAss Careers, at kickasscareers.ca. And for more information on working in Middlesex County, please visit workinmiddlesex.ca.